Bonjour. Migash minoge shimata no king. Wega andu kende mga nishinabe moin. Hanin goke noenge jinita nishinabe moin. Ami wega nongom gaina no king. Nongom gagi shikak. So some of the words I use there, as I always open the lesson with is um, sometimes I'll point out certain words that I use. Like today, I want to talk a little bit about the word garnish. Garnish. Sometimes when most of the times when I open a lesson, I'll use that word garnish. Garnish is like it's sort of inferring that we're guessing something. So it's not to say that we're unsure of what we're doing, like So it's more of a almost like small talk, that type of thing. Uh, it's kind of informal kind of way to start something when we say, well, I guess we should get started, or I guess we'll start now. That when you throw that word guess in there, it's like that. It's like that in Anishinaabe when, aha, umiga nash keji dying is we'll get started. So, and I often heard that word used growing up. It's like almost like used in a casual conversation. Miga nish dying. How is it's like a calling attention to. And there's a lot of things that we use when we're calling attention to. Like calling attention to is, for me, the way I describe that is, um, let's say you're going to open a talk to a group of people. So when you're talking to a group of people, bonjour, nandito na mga ganito. Uh, and that kind of thing. So like when you're calling attention to this group of people as you begin your speech. So that's what I wanted to talk a little bit about. Garnish, garnish. So let's see. Uh I'm gonna open this. I'm gonna open the whiteboard here. No, my whiteboards. No, new. Okay. So uh, Okay, so I don't know what happened there. I've opened another personal meeting there, so I'm not sure what's happening. I was trying to open a whiteboard, so but uh so I'm gonna see what's I'm not gonna bother with the whiteboard. I'm just gonna talk a little bit about some of the things that we've been doing. Uh so so on the 22nd of May we covered numbers. So I'm going to go back to those. And so uh so numbers from 1 to 10. Uh Basic, basic is 1. Niche is 2. Niswe, niwin, nanan, ingotoswe, nijoswe, nishoswe, shankswe, metaswe. So those are numbers from 1 to 10. Again, it's basic, 1. Nij is 2. Niswe, 3. Niwin, 4. Nanan, 5. Ningutoswe, 6. Nijoswe, 7. Nishoswe, 8. Shankswe, 9. Mitaswe, 10. So so those are the pronunciations in Anishinaabe. Uh, they're slightly different in other dialects, but in Anishinaabe, in the Ojibwe language, Anishinaabe, uh, those are the pronunciations. Again, they are Beishik, Nij, Niswe, Niwin, Nanan, Ningutose, Nijose, Nishose, Shankswe, Mitaswe. So those are the exact pronunciations. Um, and So as I was saying, sometimes the dialect can vary from and it happens in different different regions and even in different communities. So this is generally the sounds that we would make when we speak that language. Uh, so I often refer to words as sounds, and that has to do with the phonetics, the way we sound out a word. So it's uh, it's a combination of different sounds put together. So, like, let's take the numbers 6, 7, and 8. Ningutuase, nijoase, nishoase. Uh, they sound a bit more similar to the other ones. Like what I mean by that is like let's say if we go up to 5 nanan from 1 to 5, and then we go from 9 to 10. So let's go with the first 5. Basic, niche, niswe, niwin, nanan. They all sound very different from each other. 9 and 10 are shanksui, mitasui. They sound each of those each of those numbers have their own sounds. Again, let's go with all of those ones that we've separated. Bejig, Nij, Nisui, Niwin, Nanan, Shanksui, Mitasui. They all have very individual sounds. Now, if we take 6, 7, and 8, Ningutuasui, Nijuasui, Nishwasui, they they have similar sounds, especially the parts where we go wasui, wasui, wasui. There's three of those. Those three have those sounds at the end, right? Although even Chonk Sui and Mita Sui has those, but Chonk Sui, Chong and Mita Sui have those different sounds. But Ningutua Sui, Nijua Sui, Nishwa Sui, and especially uh, Nijua Sui and Nishwa Sui. If you're a first time learner, you might have a bit of a difficulty is distinguishing between Ningutuasu and Nijuasu, because you might not be catching those sound like the go on Ningutuasu or Nijuasu. And when you're a first time learner, you may not catch those immediately until you've heard it over a period of time. Then you'll start to pick out those sounds. And once you start picking out those sounds and remember the name or the number, remember the number, then you'll start to learn that okay, Ningutuaso is 7 and Nijoaso actually Ningutuaso is 6 and Nijoaso is 7 and Nishoaso is 8. Okay, so now here's another thing that I want to talk a little bit about, and we've already covered this. Like I said, we did this on the 22nd of May, and I talked about all of those things. So I'm just reviewing them now. So um, Ingotoasu, when you say, let's say one handful, Ningoninch, Ningoninch is like one handful of something. Could be a handful of rice, a handful of sand, Ningoninch. Now, when you say Ningotoasu, that's one of something, one unit of something. But we're talking about the number 6. So why would a one unit be placed at 6 in Gotoase? Now, when you say Nijoase, that's 2, right? When we say Bejik, Nij, Niswe, Niwin, and so on, Nij is number 2. Now, when we say Nijoase, now that's 2 of something, but that's number 7. Okay. Number 8 is Nishoaswe, as in Niswe. Ne is the first sound in Nishoaswe. And when you put those ne swe together, ne is at the beginning of nishwa swe, and swe is at the end of nishwa swe. So, so that represents almost like a 3. It's a bit tricky, and I don't know how or why it became that way when we're how those words came to be. I don't know if that was the goal or if that's just how the sounds came together. And how far back do these words go? When were these words formed, and why is Ningutuaso, Nijuaso, and Nishuaso in the order that they are, as if they're 1, 2, 3 in the middle of, because they're really they are 6, 7, and 8. But as as far as learning the numbers, and that's a way you can help yourself to learn to distinguish between those numbers, especially those three numbers that sound very similar in nature. Whereas Beijing, Nish, Nisui, Niwin, Nanan, Shangsui, Mitasui, they all kind of they all kind of have their own individual sounds, except for maybe Shangsui and Mitasui, because they have that sui sound, the way Nigutuasui, Nijwasui, Nishwasui have those endings, Shangsui, Mitasui. So so overall, when you look at those words as a first time learner, um, so there so there is a way to learn those words, and it is by repetition, you know, clear and simple. But if you want a method of learning them, that's a way you can approach that. So that you can go to Ningutoase, Nishoase, or sorry, Ningutoase, Nijoase, Nishoase, separate those, learn that those are six, seven, and eight, and then the rest you can tackle basic niche suiniwen nanan. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can tackle those first. Then then you can tackle the next three, which are again Ningutuasa, Nijuasa, Nishwaswa, and that is 6, 7, 8. And the last two would be Shanksui, Mitasui, 9 and 10. So those are the things that I wanted to cover here. All right. So going on to colors, and we did these before too. So the colors are Makade, Misko, Ojaushko, Ozawa, and Wabshki. So in those colors, those are actually basic colors. So Makate contains black and gray. So if you're going to say gray in Anishinaabe, you're going to use the word makate. Makateo, that's when something is an inanimate object. Makateo. And if it's black, you can still say kateo, the black object. Okay. So that's two colors contained in that one word, makate. Misko is its own color. It's red. Misko. Now, if it's something that's inanimate, you can refer to it as miskwa. Miskwa. Okay. Miskwa. All right. Now, these ones here, orzaoshko, orzaoshko, is when something is blue, purple, or green. Right. So now we have how many colors out of those three words? We have three. So there's six colors there in those three words. But orzaoshko has green, purple, and blue. So anything of those colors is referred to as orzaoshko. Okay, anything that any object that you see, that's if ob- object meaning if it was inanimate, an inanimate object. I'll talk a little more about the animate forms of those words, and that's going to be a different word for each one of those. Okay. Um, moving on to the next color. Uh, uh, Wazawa, wazawa. Uzawa. Uzawa is anything that's brown, orange, or yellow. Uzawa. So that word there already refers to something that's animate. Okay, or sorry, inanimate. Something that's inanimate, like an object. Like let's say a canoe. Uzawa or jiman. Uzawa or jiman. This canoe is brown, or if it's orange, it's or yellow. It's still Ozawa, right? Uh, Wabishke is its own color, like something like the way similar to Misko. Red is its own. There's no related colors with those two. Wabishke. Now, if it's an inanimate object, it'll be Wabshka. Wabshka. Away Asamatic, the wall. Asamatic. Asamatic Wabshka. See, now it's changed to Wabishka. The ah sound at the end. All right. Wabishka. Wabshke is like it's sort of impartial or not impartial, but incomplete. You have to add the other descriptive to make it let's say okay, now let's switch to the animate object, like something that's considered living, or even if it's a human, an animal, or even certain objects that are considered animate in the Anishinaabe culture. There are certain objects in in the Anishinaabe culture that are considered animate, like let's say like a tea kettle, a cooking pot, and certain other things are considered animate. Now we can say wapshkizi, right? So now it's not wapshki. As I was saying, wapshki is incomplete. But if it's animate, wapshkizi, you add the z sound on there at the end. Wapshkizi. Uh, let's say wagush, like the sometimes foxes in the wintertime, the fur will turn white, a white fox. Wapshkizi, wapshkizi wagush. The fox is white. Wapshkizi. Now, if it was let's just say uh the bird is red. It's not it's not Misko Beneshi, unless that was a Anishinaabe name, Misko Beneshi, right? Then that's okay. But if you're going to describe that bird as being red, then you can say Miskoze, Miskoze Abeneshi. Then you can add that glottal stop sound there too, in the middle. So then it's going to be Miskoze Abeneshi. Okay. All right. Uh, so those were excuse me. So those were the colors that I wanted to cover. On the 23rd, um, we covered uh, the past, present, and future tense when it comes to words. Okay, and also what I like to call the three-person forms, which is neen, geen, ween. So that is me or I. Geen is you. Ween is the other. or the third person, and fourth person meaning actually the fourth person or many other people. So generally I would just say um, um, the third person. The third person could also mean, well, the third person and beyond, like maybe a group of people, a crowd of people, or something like that. So that's wean when it's the third person. Like, let's say if I'm the one that's speaking, I become the speaker and I'm talking to the second person, the person that's standing in front of me, looking at me, that becomes the second person. We could re in conversation, I would refer to that second person as Geen, because I'm looking at you, Geen. But there's another person standing off to the side, that's the third person. So I could talk about the third person with the second person. So words change when we use those, when we use any word in conversation when it comes to people. So it's a word is not just, it doesn't stay need, geen, ween. That's just all in the that's the basics of it. Neen is myself. If I'm talking about myself, if I'm referring to myself in conversation, let's say I'm going to go there. I would say niwi isha, niwi isha iwite. I'm going to go over there. Ni the so the way neen is spelt, first of all, is neen means me or I, right? Remember? Neen is N-I-I-N, need. Gin is you, G-I-I-N. Ween is the other person, the third person, or the fourth person. Fourth meaning a bunch of other people. Ween is W-I-I-N, ween. Okay? Now, in conversation, if I'm going to say, I don't have to say, nin, nin ni ija, nin ni wi ija. I could say, ni wi ija, meaning I'm going to go over there. Iuti. I'm going to go over there. Niwi ija, niwi ija. Okay. Now, if I'm going to say to you, you being the second person, I can say giwi ija. You know. Now, in conversation, in actual conversation, when would that kind of opportunity present itself for me to say giwi ija? Like I'm telling somebody, it's almost like I'm commanding somebody to go somewhere. Giwi ija iuti. So that's kind of uncommon. It's unusual, but I could use that as a question and I can say, Giwi ijana iyoite, are you going to go over there? But now I'm saying, because I'm talking to you as the second person, and then I'm saying, Ge wi ijana, as in Gin. Remember, you're Gin, you're the second person. Giwi ijana. Now, if I'm going to ask you, the second person, about the third person, I can say, "We ijana awete." Is that other person? Is your friend going? Okay. So that's how that works when it comes to neen, geen, ween, and that happens in every word when we speak the language. All those things come into play. The other things that come into play when we speak the language is sometimes we're going to refer to things in the present. The word can change in that situation, as would the past or the future. Like, let's say if we're talking about the days of the week, for example. Uh, okay, let me stay with the word ija, meaning oh, going somewhere. Uh, Now I'm asking you, did you go somewhere last week or yesterday? So then what would happen there is like what I would say is, I'm asking you if you went yesterday. Then I would say, Gigi ijan. So there's two gi sounds. Gi meaning you, and gi in the past tense. So there's two sounds that are added at the beginning. Gigi ijan. Na. The na sound is a question. It's like a question mark in English. Na. So that indicates that there's a question being asked if when there's a na at the end of the word. So like I'm asking you, Gigi ijan. All right. Gigi ijan. Now, like if I'm going to ask you, are you going? Are you going there maybe later on today or tomorrow? It doesn't matter. But it's going to be in the future tense. So then it's going to be Giwi ijan or Giga ijan. Giga ijan itiwabang tomorrow. So I'm kind of jumping ahead to with a bunch of other things here, but I'm going to go back and I'm going to say Giwi ijan. Right? Now, if it's a command, I would say Giwi ija, right? That's being bold and saying you're going there, you know. So that's a bit uncommon to say that. I don't know when that opportunity would present itself in conversation, but it's a word, that could be used. Giwi. Now, the third person, if I'm asking you, the second person, about the third person, I would say we ijana is the third person going. All right. So that's uh now let's work with the present tense of the word ija and nin, gin, and ween. Uh Nindija, I am going. Kitija, you're going. Uh the third person, ija. It's just simply ija. Ija iyete. Third person is going over there. Okay? So that's um now let's throw in the days of the week. The days of the week. Uh the days of the week. So let's say Monday. Itama no kiigijigat. Itam again is like, remember how we were talking about numbers from 1 to 10? Like let's say when we went to Ningutoasu, Ningutoasu, one one unit of something or one handful. Nihtam, nihtam is another way of saying the first of something. So the first day of the week, Monday, anoki is work. So what it's saying there, what it's describing is uh, the first work day. Gijigat is day. So I don't know if I actually said the word first, but I'll say it. Itama no ki gijigat. That's a very descriptive way of saying. Well, in the English language, we have the word Monday, right? In the Anishinaabe language, it's more descriptive. It's saying the first work the first work day. Itama no ki gijigat. And there's a lot of syllables in that. So there's a lot of syllables to learn to put together. Nitama no ki gishigat. Whereas Monday only has two syllables. Monday. One, two. Monday. Ni- Nitam anoki gishigat. Eight syllables in that. So, and that's what happens with the Anishinaabe language. Is that it's very descriptive in nature, and so sometimes you get these long descriptive ways of saying something. That's the language. In essence, that's the language. It's very descriptive, a lot of sounds and syllables, and but that's the beauty of it. Now, Tuesday, Nishogishigat, Nishogishigat, the second day, right? Because we don't have a noki in that word. Ditama noki gishigat, Monday has the word anoki, work, the first work day. Nishogishigat just says the second day. Apitose is Wednesday. Know that apita is like half. We say indicates something's happening. Apita we say. So that means what's it's inferring is that we're halfway through the week. So why it's that's why it's put together like that. Apita we say. Apita we say eh, uh, go na maigi 1 week. Linggo na maigi. You can remember Nguto also is you one unit of something. Linggo na maigi is 1 unit of something. So that's na maigi is Sunday. We're gonna get to Sunday, but I'm trying to describe a week now as I'm rolling out each workday. So I have to jump to that word. Anam got is Sunday, but we're going to review that when we get to it. So um no, anam got, but apitause is like halfway through the week. But if we're going to create it as a sentence to make it more complete, then we could say apitause inigo anam it's halfway through the week. That's what we're saying when we say that. Apitause inigo anam Okay, so that's halfway through the week. That's what we're saying in sentence form. All right. Apitawise alone is um, Wednesday, but it's describing in Anishinaabe language. It's describing halfway through something, but obviously we're talking about the week, Wednesday. Uh, Niyogishigat, the fourth day. Niyogishigat, the fourth day. Remember how when we go back to the numbers, Beijing, Nish, Nisui, Niwin. Were you counting in English? Beijing. What's Beijing? Counted in English at the same time. Nish. You're counting the English number. Nisui. Niwin. What's Niwin then? If you're counting in English at the same time as I'm rolling these numbers out again. Beijing. Nish. Nisui. Niwin. Okay. That's four. Okay. So now when we say Niyogishigat, where are we in the week that we're rolling out then? So far we've covered Itama no Kigijigat, Nijogijigat, Apitause, Niyogijigat. We're on the fourth day. So what's the fourth day in the week? You know it, right? If you're an English speaker, you'll know what the fourth day is. It is Thursday. All right. Na no gijigat. That's the next one. What's nanan when we count our numbers? Bejig, Nij, Nisui, Niwin, Nanan. One, two, three, four, five. Na no gijigat. So what's the fifth day in the week? Well, let's say it together. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Nanan is five. So that's the fifth day. One, two, three, four, five. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Na no gijigat. But see, in the numbers we say nanan, N-A-A, N-A-N. But when we say Friday in Anishinaabe, we say not nanan, we say nano, nano gishigat, because I've never heard it said nanan gishigat, nanan gishigat. I never heard it said that way. I because the word gishigat is added there, maybe that's why it changes to nano, nano gishigat to make it a separate word, right? Nanan is five. Nano gishigat is Friday. Okay. Saturday. Matanoe gishigat. Saturday. Matanoe. So this is speculation on my part here. Matanoe is like it's almost like something is sounded out for the first time. So and that's an old word. So maybe somebody else knows better what that means. Matanoe. Inoe to me is in linguistic fashion. Inoe is like something is kainoeing, the way we sound. Inoe is something is sounded out or sounding out. Matoe is like when something is sounded out. Matoe is again like somebody's shooting a rifle or something like that. Matoe, and so those similarities are there. Mat when something kimat segego when something is starting. Matinoe again through speculation. That's what it sounds like to me. And that's the word Saturday. Matanoe gishigat. Gishigat is day. It's included in every one of those words. Ditamanoki gishigat. What is that? What is nijo gishigat? Hapito say is just descriptive. It's like it doesn't have gishigat on it. Neo gishigat has the word gishigat. Nano gishigat Friday. Matanoe gishigat. And last we have aname gishigat. Um, so I believe that that's a more recent word because Hanami'e is praying, prayer, prayer day, Sunday. Hanami'e gishigat. All right. So with that, I'm going to wrap up this lesson and till the next time. Aha, miigwech.